Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video we'll discuss about the Java syntax. Different language have different syntax. Also Java has a particular syntax which we have to follow when we write our code. So actually, we know that we write the program in high level language, which is almost same as the English language, but still we need to follow a particular way of writing that particular code because that code will get compiled by the compiler, and then it will be made in form of an intermediate code as we talked about, and then that intermediate code would be converted to the machine code. So that like this compiler should understand what we are writing. So we follow a particular format. Uh, for writing the code. So we talked in the previous video about the class. So the Java program is written under a class. So it's a basic code structure. And inside the class, when we write a code, we write using Java syntax. So Java code is grouped into classes, and we can see this as a sample Java code. So we have a class called as student. For now, you can skip this package school, or you can think that there is a package school, and inside that school there are different classes. So there would be some teacher class, then there would be some let's say employee class, then there would be some principal class, and so on and so forth. So inside that package school we have a student class. So the student class, so we write public class student. So this public will understand why do we write public in future course. So we can say that we have class and then we have student. So we have a class and then we write the name of the class, and the name of the class here is student. So we have student class. So we have class and then the name of the class is student. So let's say we have to make an employee class. So what we'll write? We'll write public class employee, right? Right? And this public, if we see, public means that this class would be accessible to any other program running, right? So there would be other programs which would be running, and that program might require some of the data from the student class. So if it is public, means other program can access the data which is present in the student class, which is present in the employee class. There are other things other than public. We have private. So private, as the name suggests, it won't be allowing to access the data. Then other than that we have default. So we'll talk about these in the later course. So for now you understand public means the data of this particular thing can be accessed outside the class. So any other class which is present can access the data of this student class. So we have public, right? And this is this public, private, default, and so on. These are known as access specifier. So it specifies the access to which this particular class can go, right? This particular class can go. Similarly, we have private. So private means, as I told you, it is accessible only to this particular class. So you see this is string and name. So you see this name, you see this roll number. So actually these two are variables. So what are variables? So variables are, let's say it's a container which will contain some value. So name can be anything, right? We have, let's say, Ram, Sham, Utkarsh, Naveen, and so on, right? So we have different names. Similarly, roll number. So roll number of Naveen would be something. Roll number of Utkarsh would be something. Roll number of Vaishnavi would be something. So these are different things that can store different values. So these are variables. And then before this variable, we write the type of the variable. So we have string, we have int. So string means we have string variable. So string means any variable which can store alphabets, numbers, etc. Right? So it can store A to Z, small a to Z. Then we have 1 to 9, or you can say, yeah, 0 to 9. Then we have special characters. Okay, so all these special characters would be like dot, dash, and so on, right? So this is a string type of name. So name can have anything. And then we have roll number. So roll number we have taken as int. It can also be taken as string because sometimes the roll number is something like this. Let's say 119 and CS 0294. So this was my roll number. So it has both alphabets. It has both numbers and alphabets, right? So this needs to be there in string, but for simplicity we have taken it as int. So since it is int, means it is an integer, it will have only from 0 to 9, right? Then also we have float, so or double. So float or double can be used for writing the decimal point. So let's say you have some balance, right? So the balance can be having some decimal points as well. So we take, let's say, double. So double means this would be able to have something like 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 9.999 and so on, right? So this is not int, this is double, or we take float. So we'll talk about, we can take what is the difference between double and float in the later course, but you can see double and float are also there to represent these decimal points. For integer we use int, for decimal we use double or float, for all these alphabets we use string. So this is what we have taken, and then we have written private. So private string name, private in roll number. So what this private is? So these means that these two variable can only be accessed inside the class. So can only be accessed inside this class. Okay, so these are the two variables that are name and roll numbers, which can only be accessed inside the student class. It cannot be accessed outside it. Understood? And then we have something called as public void set roll number and get name. So set roll number, as the name suggests, means we have to set the roll number, means we have to put some value in this roll number variable. So we use this function. So these two are variables, right? And these two are methods or functions. So we say functions. Okay, so functions mean it is performing certain activities. So you can say that this set roll number function is going to take some value. Int value means it is going to take an integer value and it is going to store in the roll number. So roll number is equal to value means the roll number which is there, which is a form of a int, it is getting assigned with the value that is coming to this particular function. And then let's say you have to give the name. Let's say I want the name of the student, so I say, okay, get name. So get name function will return me the name of the student. So this return will give you the name of the student. So this return is a keyword, means it will give you something. So return means it will give you something. So what is going to give you? It's going to give you name. And before this function we write the particular data type. So int, string, double, float, these are data type. Data type means we have certain data, right? This variable, and this variable has certain data. So what type of data that is having, we say these as data types. So these are data types. So get name is going to return a string data. So just before this we write a data type, and this is string, means this get name function is going to return a string data type, and therefore we have written string get name. Roll, if we say have set roll number, so set roll number is not returning anything, right? We don't have to return anything in set roll number, therefore we have written void. Void means it is not going to return anything. Let's say we have to get the roll number, right? So let's say we write a function, say public. I have not written the data type, so let's say we'll write get roll number. Okay, so this is get roll number, right? And this get roll number, if you say, what will be the return type of this get roll number? So get roll number will actually return what? Get roll number will return the roll number, right? The roll number, and the return type of this would be int. Why? Because the return type of the data type of roll number is int. Did you get it? Since we are returning the roll number and the return type or the data type of this roll number is int, therefore we have written int over here. So this was the general overview about the Java syntax that we use. And as we move ahead in this course, it will be very easy for you to understand and grasp this. Maybe now it would be a bit overwhelming because there are a lot of informations we have discussed. We have discussed the data types, we have discussed the variables, we have discussed functions, we have discussed the return type, right? So here this is called as this, his string is a return type, right? We have discussed about the return keyword, we have discussed about void. So all this might be sounding too much of information, but believe me, this is something which is like you'll get hang very easily. So this was overview about the Java syntax, and hope you enjoy this video and stay connected for future video.